So it's put it behind a paywall regarding 9/11.
Listen. You just gave John a lesson. I hope he's better at when he's gonna run for Congress. I hope he's better at debating because you just addressed him. However,
address me. She kicked me to the good twice.
Right,
it's such a waste of time.
Okay, but I'm gonna say something crazy, and you guys like everybody usually thinks I'm crazy the way I think. So
keep everybody's close on.
Tucker is a Russian asset. If he keeps promoting.
Tucker Carlson works for the Russians.
It will be too transparent.
You heard it here first, everybody.
He's going to keep promoting all other agendas against the United States because that's how he's operating until people think, oh, yeah, he's with the Egyptians. He's anti-Semitic. He's anti-Jewish. He's with Qatar. He's getting money from Saudi Arabia. He's from Pakistan. All this is fog. He's a Russian asset. And you go back and you track when he started pivoting, and you'll find out after his first interview with Putin, he did 180 degrees within days. And he cannot keep promoting the Putin agenda, but what he's doing, he's destroying MAGA from within, and that serves the Russian agenda. That's what.
This is the best one. He goes to Saudi Arabia after he interviews the Emir of Qatar, right? He doesn't meet with MBS and do an MBS interview. He does one with Pierce Morgan, where he says, "What's an ally? I don't know what an ally is." Blah blah blah. Qatar is an ally, right? That whole show. Who does he interview? He interviews Ben Talal. Ben Talal is the guy who funded Georgetown, who promoted Wahhabism throughout the United States. He was the competitor to MBS. He's the guy that MBS hung upside down, literally hung him upside down inside of the Four Seasons, for blood to rush to his head until he signed over 70% of the sovereign funds back to the Saudis, to the House of Saud. This guy promoted terrorism throughout the world. He's the one who funded also the guys from 9/11. Okay? He's the one who funded all the mosques inside of America. He literally made the Islamic Center starting at Georgetown and other universities. This was when the Saudis were funding that bill up until the Qataris took over at all the universities, which they still fund the universities. That was a whole feeder into our State Department and our DOD of anti-American morons, right? Like Maher Bakar, for example, right? Funding all those things. So he goes to interview that person, but not MBS is going to be the source, right, of the country. Why? Because MBS is in direct competition, no matter what anybody says, with the Al-Qanis. Then he goes to meet with the Prime Minister of Qatar and gives the most bullshit interview to him we've ever seen of, and literally is doing propaganda talking points. That's the first interview, not the second one recently at the Doha Center, for example. Right? Okay, then, what's another interview? Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, Milo has a whole history of working at David Horowitz Center, at Breitbart, in politics. They could have talked about Charlottesville and J6 and Nick Fuentes. It was the most obscene talking about gay stuff I've ever heard. Like how everybody is gay in the Republican Party. Like all the congressmen and senators. Why would you do that? Why would you bring up that whole narrative? Everybody knows Milo's background with the Russians. Everybody does, including with the Mercers and the UK.
Well, they brought him on. They brought him on again. Here's the absurd part. He's flamboyantly gay. Milo is still, right? But they brought him on as a reformed, no longer gay,
He's still
no longer gay person.
That he lives with. Why didn't Tucker say to him?
Right.
Why are you still married to your black husband?
But they brought him on as a gay expert to analyze it. It's just.
If you want to know what's wrong with Milo, you have to understand that the cocaine prices are through the roof. Okay, he's pissed about the boats being blown up. That's what it is.
I read a great tweet from probably the best, most effective conservative activist in the country, Chris Rufo, who's done more than anything to fight against the trans ideology.
Why did Tucker bring on George Galloway? George Galloway is an Irish gremlin that they poured water on, right? Who goes out there and speaks the most anti-Western propaganda.
Socialist member of parliament.
He converted to Islam. He did. He's married to a Muslim woman from, I don't know, one of the Bajans or Stans. He speaks on behalf of Iran in Iran. He obviously speaks in Russia. He speaks, who else is he? He's spoken in Qatar many times. Goes after everybody. This guy. He also speaks on behalf of China. He he has to do that interview by Zoom because Galloway is trapped in a foreign country because he's involved in promoting Hamas and other terrorist organizations and Assad, who may I mention. Okay, then he says Tucker.
Wait, before you move on from Galloway, he promotes him in the tweet as a very conservative on a number of issues when he's explicitly self-identified as a hardcore socialist.
Yeah, he's a Marxist. He's an actual Islamic Marxist, right? But what's even better is his interview most recently with Piers Morgan, where he says, I have no problems with Pakistanis. I drove in an Uber. They were great. They treated me just great. Never mentions the 250,000 girls that were trafficked, abused in the more horrific ways. Have you read the testimonies of what these Pakistani grooming rape gangs did to these girls? You cannot get through one paragraph. And I've read it all, and I've seen it all. After October 7th,
It's called me a bitch.
telegram from their live.
Yeah, we haven't been killing nowhere near enough of the bad people. I mean, we know that. We haven't been killing anywhere near enough bad people. We haven't been arresting criminals either. So basically, society's falling apart in general globally.
Hold on. But he says he has more in common with the Pakistani taxi drivers in London than he has with English Christians that are lefties. That's what he says. He says, what's wrong with Sharia law? I have no problem. What's wrong with submission?
Hello?
There's no rapes that occur in Qatar. It's great. Or in Saudi Arabia. Because they don't document rapes because you're not allowed to report rapes. What you do is either you kill your daughter or your wife if she gets raped. You don't kill the guy. Or you throw acid on her. Or you behead her. Or she suddenly disappears. Or you force her to marry the guy that raped her. For honor reasons. Now, all of us red-blooded Americans know very well if something happened to one of our daughters, what we would actually do, especially the people that come to my spaces. We're not waiting for Egyptian planes and the French Foreign Legion to do God's work. If you hear what was done to these girls in the UK, that would be street justice in 15 seconds. He says, I think Tommy Robinson this. Tommy Robinson is the only guy fighting in the UK, and actually for the whole British Isles, including Ireland, to fight for these girls. Yeah, he's a brawler on the street, so what? So they used to call him a white nationalist. Okay, great. He goes to Israel and he does a bunch of interviews all over the Christian areas, the Arab areas, everything. And Tucker's pissed because it breaks up his narrative. Why did he invite Tommy on to have a debate with him about what he saw there, rather than the lies and nonsense from the KGB nun, which was totally dispelled? Who even knows about this Shia-trained nun by the KGB, who literally beat up monks from the white Russian Orthodox Church inside of the West Bank with Arafat during the Oslo Accord? Where did you ever find that train wreck?
Documents. I mean, they have the documents, right? So they raided a bunch of people that were involved in some of these more sophisticated operations, and the number one goal of the Islamic terrorists, radicals, whatever you want to call them, was they were going to disguise themselves as Christians because Christianity in all of its forms allows anybody to become a Christian. There's basically no rules. So most of them went to Catholicism, right? And they just blended in. It's very easy. The prayers aren't real complicated. They're used to praying and stuff. And they penetrated the church. And then when you talk to Catholics about that, they're like, no way, that's not possible. He said he loves Jesus. And you're like, dude, like, you're retarded. These people, like, they're penetrating your organization. They're coming there with an intent. And then, you end up seeing, like, these things happening in the community where, like, all the churches just get all of a sudden sold to, like, they turn into mosques. Like, just out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not what happened. They penetrated the church. They converted everybody to Islam. And they bought the church. And now it's a mosque. It's very.
I have another interview. Hold on one second, please. The interview between Tucker and Sean Ryan, where he goes on and he talks about OnlyFans. And there's a reason why he talks about OnlyFans. He didn't talk about Playboy or Penthouse or Pornhub or the Andrew Tates who trafficked and did cam business and pornography, which he literally flew to Romania to interview them.
They commit crimes, so that's like, they can't commit crimes. So it's all okay for them. It's okay for them. It's not okay for anyone else, though. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the rule. That is literally, legitimately, 100% the rules. Any task to forward the cause is acceptable and permittable. no matter what the harm is to the outsider. Like literally they try and say that that's like the Jews, but that's not nowhere near as true as it is for these radicals, because they not only do they do it, but it's very like, I don't want to get into this, but there's actually analyticals that have been done on these different websites, and the vast majority of these people are doing exactly what was it Andrew? It was one of the Tate brothers, right? Like they're talking about it recently. Like his objective, like as a Muslim when he converted, was to have sex with as many Christian women in debauch or whatever it is, like where you humiliate them sexually at the tequila or whatever. And it's like, what is that? And then like,
Andrew Tate converted to Islam because he wanted to move his baby mamas that were under investigation with
I know, but I'm saying,
the EU, the UAE, move his money there so that they can't say anything or sue him.
But when you hear these stories,
And they can't extradite the witnesses.
When you speak over each other, it's gonna mess up my transcripts.
Okay, well, let me just finish with
going through the guest list just so people, when somebody says, what has he talked about important? There's not a single thing. Okay, then he brings on this woman of the 9/11 survivors campaign, which is funded by the Qataris. Just so you know, that lawsuit, one of the guys is in our spaces. He's part of it. The Qataris fund the lawsuit against the Saudis through a lobbying group in DC. Okay, so we found that out in spaces. I found it fascinating. So, anyways, they do that because the Qataris and the Saudis are constantly fighting, between themselves and the Gulf countries. But she says and lies, and you know who who did the best correction to this was the girl from, is it OAN? What's her name? Let me pull her up.
Chanel Rion?
No, not her. No. She is, let me see here. My friend.
Liz Wheeler?
Excuse me, what?
Liz Wheeler?
Stella Escobar.
Caitlin Sinclair?
Hold on a second. So she lies on that episode, and it's not corrected by any of them.
They wanted to worship that golden calf, and we all know this. Truth has talked about it, and we all know the story. But what happened time and time again? Mankind kept saying, "No, we're going to do it our way." Therefore, God said, "I'm going to lay down the law for you." And guess what? Anyone under the law is cursed. It's cursed. It's unimaginable, the burden. No one can even begin to comprehend it. So what happens, we have, and I'm just going to land it here, this takes us to Galatians chapter 3. And all I'm going to do is read one quick little excerpt out of there. Paul says, anyone under the law is cursed. But thank God, Jesus Christ, he fulfilled that. And I'm just going to read right here. He said, forthcoming the scripture, I'm in Galatians chapter 3. And this is what Paul was saying. Oh, foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? Bewitched means they're falling under the spirit. These Zionist Judaites. Cursed. You're cursed. It's hell, because that is perfection beyond perfection. And by the way, the whole servant thing, that was only for 6 years. They had to go free in the 7th. We won't go into that, but then I'll close it right here. But he says, but anyone, all scripture foreseeing that God would justify the heathen through faith. It says, so then which by faith are blessed are the faithful Abraham. For many are the works of the law and are under the curse. For it is written, cursed is everyone that continueth not in the things which are written in the book of the law. So if we're under the law, under the Torah, and God forbid they go to their Babylonian Talmud, they're working for Satan. I mean, literally working full time for Satan, because they reject Jesus Christ, and I'll land it there. Thank you so much. Love you all.
Thank you so much, Andrew. All right, and guys, please repost this space, follow Ian and Ruth and the amazing speakers, and thank you so much for being here. All right, Isan, go ahead, sir.
No, I actually had a couple of things I wanted to say earlier, but we kind of moved away from that topic. But I just wanted to just say that, I haven't seen you guys in a little while, so it's nice to hear from all of y'all. I kind of took a break from all of it. I'm very grateful for where things are right now today in this whole space, and everyone speaking out. And I feel like more and more people every day are, coming to our side and agreeing and are coming to the understanding that we've come to months ago. I was driving home earlier from my friend's house. I helped my friend move some stuff, and I was just thinking, like I remember going back right after October 7th happened, I ran for office in 2024, the beginning of all of it. I was just kind of waking up to all of this. I had no idea what was really going on. I was always like, oh yeah, Israel's our greatest ally, and one of those guys. And that movement has come so far now, and I'm just I feel like I could just lay back and everything's happening for the first time ever in my life. And this is actually happening. Things are going in the right direction, and people are starting to wake up to this spell that everybody was under. So I just want to say I'm very grateful, and Truth Teller is one of the OGs that I started listening to back then, and yeah, man, but how life has completely come around. Now, I used to read the Bible, all the time back then. Now when I read the Bible, it's a complete different understanding I have of it, which is crazy because I understand the things that are said in there. It makes sense to me now, when I do read the Bible, and I have conversations with my father all the time. He's Muslim, and he pretty much knows the whole Quran off the top of his head. So we compare notes, of similarities between the Bible and the Quran. It's something that we do, during the holidays we did that. It was so awesome because we had ChatGPT fact checking each other, and I had such a good time with my dad, talking about the Bible and the Quran and the biblical stories. And I just want to say that life is good right now, and I appreciate all of you guys, and appreciate the knowledge that you guys drop and the work that you guys do, and how far the movement has come from 2 years ago. It's amazing, and I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for everyone here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming up, Hassan. And are you still dating that the honey trap?
No. Actually, I don't know what happened. We hung out for a couple of days. We hung out 3 weeks. We hung out 3 different days in over 3 weeks, and then we just kind of we just didn't talk anymore. So yeah, I think she's doing fine. She's doing good. And, I'll probably shoot her a text maybe it's one of these days and check up on her. But yeah, that was a wild run. 3 weeks we talked for, and nothing really came out of it though. It was kind of cool though. It was nice.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming up.
Just a big call out.
And I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, and just a real quick big call out for Isan for trying to get into the political world, into that game, running for office, taking these conversations out to the street. At the end of the day, we talk about these things, and look, there's a massive amount of importance and value that we can have by having these conversations in a digital space that allows us to reach our voice far farther than we could out on the street. But at the same time, it's an imperative that we try to figure out how we can impact things with the zeitgeist in our local communities, whether that's via politics, education, the commercial spaces, whatever we can do to try and make a difference and just bring these ideas to more and more people. And so, Isan, big call out, because I know you were out there, hitting the pavement, as they would say, and trying to do something on the political front. So God love you to that, and for that, my friend. So sorry, Joanna, I just wanted to call that out for him.
Oh man, I appreciate that so much, man. I was also thinking this. I was I remember waking up and doing this, this was my full-time thing. I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything other than campaigning at the time. And I remember thinking, I was this is such a I was going for it because I just thought there was no other answer, that there's no other way to really fight this system. And even if I knew I was I was running up against there was no chance I was gonna make it. I was under there's no way. But I also thought that was something that I had to do, because if I had to at least get to the point where I was okay, I'm going to do this because I want to make this normal. I want normal people to run for office and then be hey, look, he was able to get this far. Maybe I can do it too. And now that I look back on it, we got Aaron Baker running, you got Fishgate, you got Fishgate guy, you got Matt the Welder running for state for agricultural commissioner in Florida. You have all of these guys who are young guys that are actually running for office, and they're all based, and I love that, because I feel a lot of whatever part I played, maybe I didn't play any part, but I feel like I played a part in it, in them all running and like these young guys getting into the the political arena now. And I feel like everything that I did was so worth it because I'm seeing it happen. Like the whole conversation is completely shifted. And there's more people that think like I do than there was any at the time when I was running for office. I was the only one that was like, yo, what the fuck? Like this Israel stuff doesn't make any sense. And I remember I was like doing this interview for this TV station. Like there was like 6 of us there, and they asked this question about like Israel, like what they're doing in Gaza. And like everyone's like, oh yeah, I support Israel. I support Israel. And I'm like, it came to me, and I was like, yo, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm like, if a person like shot at me and like ran into like a school building, I'm not gonna fucking blow up the entire school to get this guy. Like it makes what are you guys saying? Like they're supposed to be the most advanced military in the world. Like I was the only guy saying it. Like now everyone is saying it, and I love that because I feel like. The conversation's completely shifted in 2 years, and I think it has everything to do with you guys, the work that you guys put in, the information you guys put out. I mean, that's how it gets out, and I'm so grateful for all of it, and God bless, man, and Godspeed.
I love that, and you're exactly right. I mean, the amount of velocity that has been picked up in the last 2 years, it's unbelievable, and the craziest part about it is, in some ways. We could look at this and think that we have hit terminal velocity on this conversation and we are in free fall. The machine is falling apart. The reality, folks, if this is the snowball that's going to become the avalanche, we are still in the early phases of the Frosty the Snowman snowball-sized thing going down the mountain. And as it picks up more and more and more velocity, I mean, we are 5% the descent, maybe 2%, maybe 1%. As it picks up speed, it picks up additional, let's say, voices, additional amplifiers. And as we do, we go through and we learn more truths like the one that we learned in this space with Gen X girl presenting the literal subversion of the priests who are being shipped overseas for literal indoctrination so they can come back and tell all their parishioners that they need to support Israel. That is wild. Did not know the extent of this. Did not know that it was massively organized. Did not know that they're expecting to 10 to 20x the number of people that they have participating in this program next year. That is crazy. Our nation is essentially subverted. And when I say our, it's not just the United States, it's the entirety of Western Europe. And so as more and more people notice and the voice gets louder and louder, a lot of those that we talked about this once upon a time that are open-minded, but they were just little uncomfortable. Well, they're certainly going to join our ranks, as will eventually even those that currently call us anti-Semites because they don't know anything different because they've been so propagandized. And so it will just pick up more and more speed. It will become more and more unstoppable. And the next thing you know, Ihsan, you're going to be looking back a couple years down the line and being able to say to yourself, I was one of the first people trying to, in the political sphere, talk about these things that are now mainstream. It's going to be wild to witness, and the people in control are going to desperately try to censor any and all conversations by monopolizing everything. And as they do it, more and more people are like, well, wait a second. If you have the ability to control everything and censor everything and criminalize the act of commenting on these things, maybe those crazy guys are right. And so we are unstoppable at this point, folks. We have hit not terminal velocity, we've hit escape velocity. They have no ability to put this back into the bottle. If they do, it further exposes the control. If they don't, we reach more ears. Either way, we will win. We just got to keep doing what we're doing and put in the reps every single day. So lots of love. Go for it, Jared.
So real quick, for the Christian Zionists, this is what I just don't understand. These people basically worship Jews. And it doesn't matter if the Jew, actually practices Judaism or is just an atheist, an ethnic, a racial Jew. They're basically worshiping the tribe. It doesn't matter to them. They would rather lift up those people than the Palestinians, who are genetically, at least as genetically connected to the ancient Hebrews as these European Ashkenazi people are. And I just wish we could find some way to confront them with this reality. Why are you letting some atheist from Brooklyn go over there and claim that they're God's chosen people? How is that any different than a Palestinian who is not Christian or Muslim, but is genetically connected to the ancient Hebrews? It's just so bizarre to me. Hello?
Yeah, no, it is super bizarre, and I agree with you, Jared. And let's go to the next hands, and we do have a lot of hands right now. So let's try to keep it short so that everyone can talk, and thank you so much. All right, Karam, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Joanne. Ian, you're on fire today. Seriously, man. Thank you for that. You know, that IQ thing you brought in, that just really gives out perspective. And this is what it is. This is the bottom line. This is what exactly. And if you actually weigh in, pretty much anybody on this, like whatever Ian said today, was you'll be able to actually figure it out, where everybody stands and where the problem is. You know, the issue is that yes, I hear a lot of, and especially in your second bust out, like in terms of actual hope and how this thing is going to actually evolve into something really greater. And thank you for that. We need that in troubled times. And we need those reminders. But you know what? There was more difficult task earlier on. If you can actually shift the narrative from who killed Jesus, Jews killed Jesus, to Jesus himself was a Jew, that was more difficult task. And then now it's going to be not easier to actually get this uphill task to kind of like spread this out. But I'm really hopeful. Everybody is hopeful. But what really sad part is that it took 50, 60,000 people to actually die and 200,000 to get injured in order for us to actually open our eyes. It was there. It was deep down somewhere, but we simply could not actually see it. And, all these people had to lose their lives in order to actually get our eyes open. But that's the human history. We come out from the ashes more stronger. And that's what our job is, that whoever actually has the eye open, the inside eye open, should actually wake other people up. And Jared, don't be surprised. It's not just the Christian Zionists. You would be surprised there are so many Muslim Zionists. So this is
Dr. Hota, who still believes in a two-state solution.
So here we go. I mean, it's not just the people in space. Literally, the infiltration has gone on to the level that it's unprecedented. I mean, literally in past 100 years or so, this is how the whole framework has been actually come about. That you actually coin a notion which is going to be kind of subtle, and then you're going to be part of the elite club, and you're going to have all these meetings, and you're just going to be part of those rubbing the shoulder with those kind of people, and then that's how you get into this, and that's what the whole narrative business is. So you'd be surprised there are more Muslim Zionists than probably the Christian ones, but they are hidden. So thank you, Ian. And truth, obviously, I mean, his space is kind of midnight for a lot of people, but it's an encyclopedia. And I always request that please, now this Wikipedia is coming out, we have to get the truth in textbook form, because soon this narrative business is going to actually change into something which is going to actually taint everything. And our next generation probably won't be able to actually recognize what the actual real history was. So I think that's our responsibility to actually get not just the word out in the live environment, but also get this part of the actual textbook. And that's the biggest challenge. Thanks. Back to you, Joanne.
No, that's so, Karam, that was so well stated. And everybody should give Karam a follow. It's always so poignant, spot on, my friend. And that is one thing that utterly terrifies me, is the digital control and manipulation. And you're even seeing it. I love listening to individuals try and break apart different themes and ideas, whether it's tech or the media or all these different things. And one of the recent ones that I saw was a whole piece that was done on Amazon's video library, and how they are literally going back and just changing certain parts of film to suit certain narratives. And in this case, they were referring to a specific scene in a movie where it was actually a 007 reference, for anybody that might remember the character Jaws, not the shark, but the big man. And there's a romantic scene that he has, because Jaws, the reason for the name, he's got metal teeth. That's, talk about an unfortunate weapon to have to use to kind of bite people and get all close. But so Jaws, in the movie, the man with the big metal teeth, who's the big scary monster, ends up falling in love with a woman who has braces. And the irony, the humor, the whole reason for the scene of them walking off into the sunset is because the woman has braces and therefore they both have metal teeth and therefore they fall in love. Except Amazon, now that they own the 007 property, decided to get rid of the braces because I guess they found it offensive or something along those lines. So now you have a scene in a movie that makes literally zero sense. Because instead you're just like, oh, I guess the big scary monster and this woman fell in love and they smile at each other awkwardly for reasons nobody understands. Because for the future going forward, the woman doesn't have braces anymore because it didn't suit some narrative. And what's my point is that they're going to do this to everything. Every book, every movie, everything. And it's the exact same thing that they did in Orwell's 1984, which is why they had the entire Ministry of Truth, which ironically pushed endless propaganda, right? So that's what we are going to see, and you should not be remotely surprised that the White House now wants to put out their own version of AI that's going to be the truth AI. It will be the truth of everything. And when you say, hey, Grok, did Donald Trump convert to Judaism, or so did this newscaster say? No, never happened. Did Donald Trump's daughter marry a Jew? No, didn't happen. Did Howard Lutnick live next to Jeffrey Epstein? Nope, didn't happen. It's offensive that you would ask that, though. You can see where all of this will go. They will have, just like in Orwell, the ability to not only change the present or to change the past, but he who controls the past authors the present, and he who owns the present writes the future. That was Orwell, loosely quoted. That's where we're going. So we've got to note these things and notice these things and write things down. As the reference, ironically, to Orwell, what is it that's banned in Oceania? It is literally pens and pencils and paper. The individual in Winston, the main character, he has to smuggle them out so he can write on a notepad. Why? Because he has control to author things. And in the dystopia, you don't get to do that. You just get to absorb what they tell you you're allowed to think, to hear, to see, and that you participate in your 2 minutes of hate so that you hate other people rather than noticing the people who hate you and control everything you do. So, Khurram, so well stated, beautifully eloquent, my friend. As always, I'm so humbled that you and so many others are in here. And as a last little advocation here, I get called lots of things, anti-Semite, racist, all this. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what nationality, what race, what ethnicity. All I care about is that you focus on the truth. Doesn't mean that I support the endless idea or ideology of diversity of everything because I want to protect things that are, cultures, right? Isn't it weird that the people who suggest that we need diversity so that we can celebrate diversity want to jam everything together and get rid of diversity? Do we ever stop to think about that for a moment? Right? So I want to protect the differences. I want to protect the differences in culture, in cuisine, in dialects, in dialogues. Isn't that what makes the world beautiful? Don't we love the fact that we can travel the world and see all these different things? Do you really want them all to be the same? Is there anything more boring than going to a foreign nation so that you can stay in a Marriott and eat McDonald's and Starbucks? Is there anything more depressing than thinking through what that would be like? That's the future if we don't protect the idea of nations, of cultures, of heritages. And so as a result, I just welcome anybody and everybody, and Khurram, I call it out just because obviously a different dialect, and I love that, and I appreciate you for being here. And at the end of the day, the thing I care most about, truth, intellect, an intellect that is aimed at bringing that truth to the masses so we can construct a better world for everybody. That's how we ultimately win, folks. It's to love everything and everyone that merely advocate for those types of things. So lots of love, Khurram, very well stated. And I apologize, Joanne, I'm not sure. I think it was maybe Mademoiselle next, if I'm not mistaken, then maybe John and Nikki, and then King Jesus. And then what we'll do is we'll close down the space after going through all those hands.
Well, it wasn't actually next, but I will just say hi to you guys. No, it was you had hands before me. No, I'm just guys, I had a break. I'm so happy to be here, and also just brilliant. Just really good to hear this. And you guys always, I love the panel. I think you guys are literally fire. And it's just interesting because I came in a bit later on. I guess I missed quite a bit. But no, I love what you're doing. I don't have anything to add right now, but You do have hands, and I might add something later. But yeah, Joanne, I missed you, precious. Honestly, I've been studying. It's been hectic out there, and just generally coming back, hearing you guys sitting here doing what you do best, which is sharing the truth. But not only that, you give hope. It's amazing. It's really nice to come back to this. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I know, love you, precious. We were on the phone, and then I saw you, Ian, go into that space with the person who helped Netanyahu, and I was like, I'll call you back. I need to hear this. So yeah, no, it was amazing, and love you so much, precious. And yeah, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Please repost this space, follow Ian and Truth and Amazing Speakers. And also, there is a post in the Jumbotron that Ian is ratioing guys. So guys, please like it so that we can reach you.
Oh no, you don't have to. That one has gone. Talk about terminal velocity. That one is so far over. I feel bad for the guy at this point. It actually, the reason that I was going to share that earlier, I forgot to make the point about it. Two things. Number one, I love America First. I'm not sure if he's listening right now, but under all of these posts where I just embarrass people, he puts the Tyrannosaurus roaring, which I love. But the other piece was just to suggest and showcase, look, they can continue suppressing us and censoring us and trying to lock us in our little silos, right? And then they do a decent job. I got to give them credit, isolating us from the masses. But the problem is, by doing it the way that they do it, what it does is it reinforces that our like-minded friends are the ones that are fed our content. So what does that mean? It means that it's going to be more viral amongst our people. So even if they suppress it in the algorithm, it doesn't matter, because the tiny amount of people that are going to see it are the ones that are like, let's go. And so then the next thing you know, it doesn't matter how much they suppress it. We go in a post. So they've got 15,000 views with 200 likes, and I have 6,600 views with almost 2,000 likes. I feel bad for these guys. I really do, and I didn't even write anything remotely intelligent. I just said ratio because the guy said I love being a Zionist or something, and it's so funny. Like, we are winning in spades, and I'm telling you guys, the snowball is going to go faster and faster, and the next thing you know, all of you will be writing ratio under Ben Shapiro, which can become our little mantra. Nothing remotely hateful about that word. I'm sure they're going to say that it is at some point. But all we're doing is basically tossing that word up, and Fuentes did it to Elon Musk and ratioed him like 100x. And what does it basically mean? It just means, no, what you're saying is utter garbage and everybody disagrees. And then it gets massively liked. And so to that point, Mademoiselle, that's the white pill. You cannot suppress people and censor people and hate people into loving you. That's not how this works. This is like the psychopathic girlfriend or boyfriend that's like, you will love me, as they're squeezing the person to death. That's what is happening. They have to not only control, but they also have to have us love them for trying to be tyrannical, psychopathic, totalitarian control addicts, right? So we are going to win because our ideology, it's rooted in the good. It's rooted in, for what it's worth, the idea of rebellion, which has always been something that people will flock to when it is good-natured, right? Think of every hero that you've ever admired. None of them had the easy path. There's no hero in any cinema or any literature ever that was just given the easy button and then won. In fact, speaking, because I always make Star Wars references, when Disney tried to do that by making the more recent Star Wars films with the Rey character, who literally just had all of the talent and power right from the get-go. And if you don't believe that, the movie, literally, the climax of it is her, the new hero, that has no training at all, literally defeating the guy who is supposed to be the super villain of all the bad guys. That's literally how the first movie of the new trilogy ended. And you wonder why it didn't do well. Why does nobody get behind that? Because having all the power and just being able to easily defeat everybody, there's nothing exciting about that. That's why the Superman character, for what it's worth, has never been really marketable in modern society. There's no uphill battle. You cheer for Batman because he's just a guy. Superman's totally unrelatable. And so when we are just people, we don't have armies, Truth and Joanne and I don't have TV studios and BlackRock pumping our messaging into everybody and say, these guys are cool. No, we're the opposite of that. We're the little scrappy people, right? That is what we are. We are the three musketeers, and all of you are the fourth. You are all D'Artagnan, and we are going to take down the evil empire with just truth. It's romantic, it is attractive, and it is something that people will always get behind. They just have to hear it. So just keep doing what we're doing. We are going to incur them so much love. Mademoiselle, we're always going to put out the white pills because there's no amount of control they can have that will ultimately defeat us as long as we refuse to give into that. That's as a last little comment. That's why they're pushing all the propaganda. That's why they're giving us, for what it's worth, X, and allowing us to think that we have a voice on here while they endlessly gaslight us. They want you, and I've seen a lot of people unfortunately do this, they want you to say, what's the point? Why participate? It doesn't matter. I can't be monetized. I can't grow my follower account. Why would I? That's what they want you to do. The thing they don't want you to do is to keep screaming into the ether. And as maddening as that may sound, that is the most romantic thing that you can do. Because when you have literally no benefit except for merely pushing for that which is righteous, that which is true, and that which is pure, you become, in a sense, Christ-like. Not Christ, but Christ-like. Because you are giving of yourself to something higher, something better, something purer. And people will always flock to that again. So just continue doing what we're doing, folks. The ether is getting more and more beautiful. More people are going to be screaming with us. And as they do, the tyrants with their Death Star are going to try to take us down every way they can. But they won't be able to, because truth is eternal. It is that fire. It is that light. And it is going to guide us all to a better tomorrow. So just keep doing
Hey,
what
Jacob! I'm in Lakeview. Come on over. Let's get a beer.
John or Nikki, I can't remember.
Hey, this is John. I'm running for Congress in the 16th district against an APAC candidate. I think there's a lot that we agree on, some we disagree on, but 90% of everything we agree on.
You're the same.
Well, you have your opinions, I have my opinions, but I think
Do you stand with Israel?
I stand with America first, and we need to make America great again by stop giving Israel $1, and we need to stop giving every country on the whole planet $1. You just gave $800 million to Ukraine. Don't trust that guy. You're going to shout me down. Okay, so everything you just said makes you a hypocrite if you kick me off your stage.
Loud. Excuse me, you're talking too loud.
Well, you're talking too British. Don't know what to tell you, sweetheart. Turn your volume down. There's a volume control on your phone.
Whoa, John. Hang on here. Hang on. I want to be respectful.
All right.
John,
well, are you a
congressman?
That's right. I wanted to ask you a question as a candidate. If you were running for Congress and you got elected, or you were the president, what are the 3 things you would do for we, the people of America? Ian?
Well, it seems pretty obvious. The first, and you know what? We've got an entire schematic here that we could reference that seemingly upset so many apple carts that it resulted in a bullet to the brain, which is literally to first and foremost say all foreign money needs to get out of American politics. Secondly, the central banking system in the Federal Reserve needs to be absolutely eliminated. I think that's a perfectly reasonable second thing to do. We can then perhaps look at the entanglements not only on the financial side, but also geopolitically with the Middle East and suggest this is not working for anybody at all whatsoever and get rid of that entire problem. We could perhaps look at the idea of nuclear proliferation and suggest there's one group of people that maybe have this thing, the Hannibal Directive, that seem to not abide by any of the
Hannibal Directive? He's still talking about the Hannibal Directive?
So, we could actually go back to we could say maybe that guy might have had a couple things right. There's a few other more extreme things that we could prospectively do. I don't really advocate for that. But the first thing I would absolutely do is to ban, or at least put back in place, the ban that prohibited the U.S. government from propagandizing the citizenry that Barack Obama overturned. That's ludicrous. That the U.S. government needs to literally have the ability to lie to the citizenry is wild, and it's been doubled down because the recent legislation has basically said that deep fakes and other AI things need to be monitored, managed, and potentially even criminalized, with the exception of the intelligence communities. So wait a second. The U.S. government gets to propagandize its citizenry without any recourse and can also use AI to construct video that might use deepfakes for what purpose? Why would anyone not find that weird? It's almost like the tech giants are trying to set up a system where they could just, say Truth Teller and Ian Malcolm 84. Here's a video of them robbing a bank. It might be AI generated, but we don't have the ability to know because only the U.S. government gets to decide what is and isn't real, right? There's a lot of guidelines that we could try and put in place, but the thing that first and foremost has to be done, the borders have to be closed. I think any and every individual that illegally came into the country needs to certainly be cross-examined. Those that are either violent or criminal certainly would be removed. And you can take all kinds of larger extremes on that front, which I would actually advocate for. And when I say extremes, I don't mean being violent, but I mean suggesting that for the last 30 plus years, mass migration has been weaponized against white Western Christian cultures. That is not humane, because you can suggest that it's the humane thing to do for people that come from the third world, but it's not humane to those that live in the first world to ruin it on the basis that they need to be empathetic and tolerant of other people. That's not how the world works. You don't get to just take people and stab them in the side and say, well, if you rejected us, it's because you're a bigot. That's not how it works. So those are the things that I would do, John. I'm not sure if those are at all of interest. Empathetic and tolerant of other people. That's not how the world works. You don't get to just take people and stab them in the side and say, well, if you reject it, it's because you're a bigot. That's not how it works. So those are the things that I would do, John. I'm not sure if those are at all of interest. Maybe they're terrible ideas. I don't know. But what I can tell you again is the guy that suggested something you would do. I think the central banking piece, the borders, those are some of the most important and critical. But I'd be curious for your thoughts because I think you're brilliant, my friend.
Yeah, so in terms of how to deal with the Jewish occupation, of America, of course, repeal the Federal Reserve and ensure that, the Treasury remains in-house and that no foreign entity can control the monetary policy. And of course, banish all of the pro-Jewish lobbies, like, of course, AIPAC, the ADL, J Street, UDP, and ensure there's no more influence, any foreign influence on Congress, and of course, Senate, presidency, or any of the political entities, mayorships, the councils, etc., the judges. They control them all. They have their tentacles spread out across America. And then, the media can't be owned by any of these people either. They should all be, objective, independent, and not just, pro-profit. They shouldn't. I don't think they even should be publicly traded in some sense. Some of them should be nationalized. And the way you impose a check and balance is with a government that's actually accountable to the people. Let's say an annual election with a simple litmus test that if they can't balance a budget, they get fired. It's that simple. And the election cycle is just very simple. It's like maybe 2 or 3 weeks with a very limited budget, one debate, and then any major law or reform that takes place would be through some kind of referendum where the public would vote for or against it. And if special funding is required, then the public would fund it, and if the money's not there, then it won't happen. You spend what you have, not you don't get access to unlimited amounts of funds. With a fiat currency, you can just continue devaluing. Yeah, so no more fiat currency either. Ideally, a currency based on a labor-backed currency, with zero debt, zero interest, of course, and no usury. Of course, no more degeneracy. That would be banned as well. Pornography, OnlyFans, Pornhub, all that stuff banned, and ideally revert back to a traditional nuclear family. Just promote heterosexuality and banish any homosexuality in public. Now, what happens behind closed doors, you just can't control. It's be unrealistic to try to control what happens.
You can still have gay sex in private.
Promote more traditional lifestyle. Revert back to what's worked for centuries to sustain the civilization without which we cease to exist. Of course, ban all the vaccines, big pharma crap as well, and refer back to traditional medicine as well, but focus on health, which Jews have been destroying for many decades now, which has impacted birth rates significantly, especially with all the vaccines they pushed, over 70 doses. So, that's just my little basket of things that change immediately. But health is, I think, key. Banning all these big pharma drugs that are out there, causing all kinds of problems, side effects, and worsening health outcomes deliberately, and also, impacting life expectancy. Plus, how deaths are occurring, which now is far less so due to natural causes, but instead due to some terminal illness, which is what they want, which gives them the opportunity to try to bankrupt the American public because, well, healthcare costs are so expensive. But, you can significantly minimize healthcare costs. The $4 trillion plus that it costs is, to push for, a healthier lifestyle and prevent preemptive medicine, preemptive, health preemptive lifestyles that will, minimize the need to ever even need to consult a doctor, if at all. Doctors have been put on a pedestal for far too long, overpaid, over relied on, and the AMA and even all the medical associations and textbooks need to be revised back to what they were. The Rothschild medicine needs to end too. So that's my little summary of what I would do if I were in power. And I bet John agrees with me on every single point. Of course, there should be zero foreign aid to any countries. That's an easy one. And Israel will cease to exist after that, because, well, they're not self-sustaining, are they? They're a charity case. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of it. I think at this point, to say that all things shouldn't be considered is futile. I mean, in my opinion, we live in a real bad society. Clown world is really bad right now. It's the worst I've ever seen it. And judges and lawyers and doctors, if you're in on the grift, you don't want a thing to change. Medicare, Medicaid at $4 trillion a year. Nobody wants that to change. The Republicans just voted for Obamacare. They just gave another $1 billion to Ukraine. The Republicans are indebting this country. The Democrats are as well. The uniparty is real. Congress authorizes the Federal Reserve to spend this money, so we borrow it from them. These are all future tax liabilities. But the thing is, it is a banana republic now. But Venezuela is a bigger banana republic. Zimbabwe dollar is a bigger banana republic. So it is a global fiat banana republic. But we still have the biggest military. So we are like the biggest mafia organization on the planet. And look at the NATO budget. Look at all the wars. We are the primary culprit in causing conflict throughout the globe. But these are clown world Americans. You and I know it. The Lindsey Grahams, the State Department employees. We live with really stupid people. Highly toxic, very liberal, very effed up people, and they are in your government. They're everywhere. It's like the Matrix. It's like when Neo and Morpheus are walking down the street, it's a simulation of Clown Index. And that's just my opinion, but I agree with, I'm not opposed to anything, because at this point, this ship is got so many fucked up participants or passengers. I don't, who wants to go to point A to point B with these people? I think Clown World sucks.
It's crazy that you called Lindsey Graham. I was thinking about it. What did he say? That they were. It's not libertarian. The other one.
He was giving the example of them being liberal, I guess. I think so.
Yeah, liberal. Lindsey Graham, liberal.
I mean, Lindsey Graham is crazy, and the only thing that I suppose I would say is that if we look at Clown World, I agree, and we basically got Clown World on the left, and we've got Clown World on the right, and the Clown World on the left is the LGBT woke diversity of everything, mass migration of everything, destruction of all of the culture, the heritage, the tradition, the norms of the Christian world. And the Clown World on the right is forever do everything that is of benefit to Israel and Jews. And then if you look at the common denominator behind who's pushing both of those forces, what you realize is the real Clown World is that the world is a stage. It's all just players, but we're watching a show that is directed, produced, run entirely at the behest of the same usual suspects that own Hollywood, right? So that's the reason that we focus on the construct of this matrix, because if you're under the impression that you can, let's say, win the matrix by making the most money or by becoming the most famous, all of those things are complete waste of time. It's all fake because you're in the video game, you're in the simulation. The only thing that matters is identifying Agent Smith and the architect of the matrix and trying to point at that thing, because nothing else changes until people become aware of that piece. And so maybe, John, that's why I continue triangulating and pointing at all of the let's say, the architect.
But see, that's an all or nothing statement.
If you can show me that it's not the usual suspects that I point fingers at, I'm always welcome.
Imagine if you said black people in Zimbabwe or Indians in India. Your statement is all or nothing when you say the Jews or Israel. I know, go to your local Chabad and go do a Shabbos with a bunch of Jews, and you tell me if they're involved in world conspiracy. They're not.
You're saying the Jews, as if I'm making a low IQ argument and just randomly pointing fingers. So I want to play a game with you. I'm going to be intellectually honest here. Can you showcase to me a single example in the Western world, in particular in America, because I presume you're most familiar with it, where at the top of the woke problem, or the media problem, or the tech problem, can you point to any of the problem that you complain and campaign against that is not architected, owned, or run at the highest level by Jews?
There's a lot of really piece of shit liberal Jews out there, but there's a lot of...
Okay, hang on. You said liberals and POSs, and then you said Jews. Okay, can you show me a single place where it is not somebody that is either ethnically, religiously married to and or beholden and funded by individuals that are Jewish? Can you give me one example?
Can you give me an example of the Saudis, the Qatars, the Russians, the Iranians? There's people all around the world. You got Jew brain disease. You got Jewish derangement syndrome.
John, you're spurging out, as the kids would say. We're going to try and focus on the Western world. We can go into all those places.
You're asking a one-word...
John, don't make me mute you again. Try to conduct yourself with some degree of class and intelligence, and I'm going to try and be generous for another 60 seconds or so, and then we'll move on because you're being a little bit ridiculous. I will give you one more chance. You're an individual running for Congress. I don't mean to embarrass you. I'm going to give you one more opportunity. Showcase to me where in the Western world there's a power structure that is not run at the highest level, if degenerate to society, by Jews. Can you give me one example?
Chairman Powell is a Jesuit, you Catholic fucking idiot. It's run by Jesuits, not the Jews. Jesuits control everything, I tell you. And they touch a lot of little boys' booty holes, and they got a lot of big lawsuits against them, billions of dollars. There are a bunch of pedophile Catholics at the top.
I'm going to mute you again because you're either drunk, you're low IQ, you're a troll, or you're just flailing around because you can't honestly address the question that I'm asking you. In any of those...
You just don't like my answer that the Catholics are a bunch of pedophiles and these Jesuits are controlling the military and the big pharma industrial complex. You're covering up for the Jesuits, you Catholic show. And that Pope...
Okay, John, so you want to talk about the pharmaceutical industry. Do you really want to go down that route? You want me to point out all of the individuals at the top of the COVID roll?
Yeah, let's hear it. Do the roster of the Jews, Ian, and I'll give you the roster of the Jesuits that work with those Jews. Let's do it. I got my list. You got your list, you Jew-hating, anti-Semitic, Jewish derangement syndrome schmuck.
John, three judges at the top of the COVID rollout.
Are you vaccinated and triple boosted? Because this message is brought to you by Pfizer.
John, I'm going to try and be respectful and give you one more chance. Give me three individuals that are Jesuit educated at the top of the COVID rollout.
It is triple boosted.
Go ahead, John.
I want everybody to know it's not muted right now.
Name the Jesuits. Yeah, no, it's not. Jesuits.
Come on, John, you can do it. Are you typing?
I can't do it.
You hoping it's going to save you?
Oh, there we go. Listen, I know a lot of you people never went to college and you're not in a sorority or a fraternity, but there are fraternities out there.
I will give you one more opportunity. Can you point to a set of three Jesuit individuals at the top of the COVID rollout?
Listen, I got my list of over 200 Jesuit traitors that we need to hang in D.C.
You a direct question. I told you that it was your final opportunity. I'm going to give you one more. You are embarrassing yourself. Name three individuals that are Jesuit educated that are at the top of the COVID rollout. Ready, go.
Dr. Fauci, you fucking idiot. Do I got to spell it out for you? F-A-U-C-I, Fauci.
John, you're not muted.
Yes, I am.
I think he's breathing so hard that his microphone just gave up. I was like, no, I cannot do this anymore.
Yo, why? Who's like this?
I told him he was speaking.
What happened is like this because Dr. Fauci vaccinated you and you can't have children anymore. The mRNA vaccine in your blood is going to prevent all of you from having children. And we'll have a global depopulation. And Bill Gates, another Jesuit, Dr. Bill Gates, another Jesuit who vaccinated you and won't let you go on your trip to the southern Spain. Oh dear me, because we're going to get another booster, darling. Got to get another Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, AstraZeneca, put inside my tuckers.
It's really remarkable.
I Jesuit and a Jew cooked up the special vaccination that is depopulating the planet.
Personality, guys. He has another personality.
You got another personality. It's got a limitation, you twink. You fucking twat.
John's a pedophile.
John's a pedophile. That's projection, you sick little fuck.
Hey, John, do you know who founded the Jesuit order in 1540? Since you're so smart.
Fucking Dr. Bill Gates' grandfather.
And you went to college, right? Do you know the name of the?
Dr. Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci did this to us, and you can't even admit it because you got your head so far up these fucking Jesuits' asses.
Right, Ignatius Loyola, 1540, along with a bunch of other Marano Sephardic Jews, are the ones who founded the Jesuit.
You got your head so far up Bill Gates' actually can't pull it out of the Jesuit hole that is in.
You guys losing it. There's too many of those Jewish poisons he's been exposed to. So this is what I mean, people, when I say stay away from the Jewish poisons and these terrible.
Stay away from Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci and all these Catholics.
And you spur out like this. Maybe he's still qualified.
He's a fake Christian, ladies and gentlemen. He's not a real Jesus believer.
Likes of a fraud wannabe Jew like George Santos, who spent all his money on his OnlyFans subscriptions, Botox, and fancy suits. Taking his husband out. You're a faggot too, right, John? Yeah, I guess maybe John's got a chance. Who knows?
That's projection, but George Santos is a faggot. George Santos and Milo Yiannopoulos are indeed faggot cocksuckers. Don't take advice from faggots, kids.
Okay, hold on, John. Be serious for a second. How much money have you got? You got more than $90 since the last time we spoke after being like breaking for shekels.
He has to make a total ass clown of himself because he can't afford to go to Israel. They won't pay for his trip because he's not qualified. He's just doesn't have enough of a network to qualify that he can get his whole expense paid trip to Israel. So he's got to really simp and humiliate himself in spaces before
It's a humiliation ritual, ladies and gentlemen. The Orthodox Jews are making me humiliate myself.
You ever blackmail you at all, or are you just that far? Not even on the first rung of the Jewish ladder.
This is a humiliation ritual. I'm participating in a humiliation ritual for the Orthodox Jewish organization, for the AJC and the AIPAC. They what? I'm getting paid to do this, folks. The Jews control everything, and they're paying me to do this right now.
Like, oh my God, I'm running back. I stay fat. No, you're not. You're not good enough for them. Which is pathetic.
He's still doing the British accent, guys. I tricked him out.
Is he smoking?
It's all remarkable. And John, I'm going to say this with complete sincerity.
Get help.
That was hilarious.
To a counselor.
What do you mean? I just had some pizza. Why would I want to go to a counselor? I gotta go to the bathroom and wash my hands.
To this therapist that I would recommend you perhaps consider speaking with. Share this with them.
I'm getting therapist recommendations now from you and Carol.
That's how I spend my days, and ask them for an evaluation.
It's projection. This is all projection. We got it. It's called the projection.
And then come back to the space and provide a recap, because I want you to get better, John. What we just kind of witnessed, and I say this with complete sincerity. I think the kids would call it cringe. Because it was beyond embarrassing, and I'm not only embarrassed on behalf of you, I'm embarrassed on behalf of listeners that had to listen, myself, that this was part of the conversation. There's a lot of things that are obnoxious. There's a lot of trolls. There's a lot of people who want to disconnect from reality, and then there are those who are disassociated from it. And I think you might fit into the final bucket. And so again, John, I say that with all sincerity. I'm not a doctor. I have no medical expertise in this regard, but consider it. Consider speaking with a therapist, with a psychologist, and again, share this with them. And if it was a troll, then in that case, perhaps I say this also with
nicely done. If it was a troll,
classes. Go and do stand-up and improv.
I'm already doing it right now, baby.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken,
we're doing it right now. Ian Malcolm 84.
There's a little school, I can't remember what it's called, but a stand-up school that's part of that. It's a feeder program, largely run by Jews at its highest level.
Ooh, back to the Jewish teachers, Jewish masters.
Go there. It's either a psychological, maybe illness, in which case I pity you and you have my empathy, or perhaps you're trying to be humorous and you're just really bad at it. Maybe the classes will be a solution for you. But either way, do not come back. You are not wanted. I don't want to see you here. I'm not going to block you because I don't like to do that to people unless they're really terrible. I will mute you. That is perhaps an uncertainty. and I will not give you a mic going forward.
Woo! I got back from the Ian Carroll show.
And I hope that you find happiness wherever it may take you.
Ian Malcolm banned me from the show. Banned from the Ian Malcolm 84 show.
Yes, go ahead, miss.
Thank you very much. It's been an excellent space, Ian. Well done, Joanne, and the truth teller, and recognizing your speakers. Awesome speakers, by the way. But I wish to challenge American community, and I pray that one day you will find it in you to act on this. The Zionist government considers itself the American friend. And they taking nationals from America to ill-indoctrinate them, and maybe how about reciprocating that and train and have no less than 1,000 to start with, and tens of thousands sooner to go and also indoctrinate and transform Zionist children, and whether they are fake or true Jews, but they are ill indoctrinated. They are held hostage. They cannot even converse over the Hannibal Directive, and their children are destroying donor help. They need help. And the only superpower we have under the sun is the friend of Israel, America. How about we sponsor a group to go and do the same in Israel? Will that be acceptable? I hope it will. It is a very important thing to consider, really, that we talk, because in reality, the Jews are held hostage as we speak. There are many things they cannot talk about. And then may I touch on something that I hope it will be understood fairly. We have our Muslim community who always say peace upon Jesus, but he's not God, he's not. I think we should arrive at a place where we help each other understand that mankind cannot save themselves, and Jesus is the Son of God. He's one with God. He is God. And I will also qualify this by one thing that once happened to, forgive me for saying a lot, host, but this is an important point I wish to highlight, that there has been a very notable prophet, and one day a group of Muslims came to kill Christians, but this was a prophet of another level. God revealed what was about to happen, and he set traps, and he made sure that when they come, which they did, and then after eating at the church kitchen, they had set their explosives. They were arrested in the spirit. And what then happened is that for a few days they couldn't sleep. They couldn't, yet they were arrested. They couldn't travel back to where they had come from, and yet they couldn't explode their satanic things scattered around the church. I am trying to say, yes, it may be nothing to do with the Islamic religion, but these people claimed to have been initiated using the Quran. So we have to get to a point where we help each other do the right thing. God has defined how things should be done, and we cannot be appeasing each other and fooling each other. And it is of concern also, because even the Gazans and the Palestinians, at times, some people
from the Ian Jewish Derangement Show, Jew-Hit Show.
They are not suffering because they are Muslims, but there are some who are trying to use that. No, let's sort the world and let's make it a fair place.
Amazon, despite coming off of their really good quarter, almost everything else in the large cap tech basket is well off its highs. And
but yeah, those are crowded trades.
They are, and so they're becoming a source of fun during this rotation, right?
Yes, it's a source of funds, and I totally get the rotation. But look at like the XLI. Okay, the industrials ETF. Look at
100% agree.
All time closing high today.
100%. That's what the average is, Joe. Exactly. 100% agree. And by the way, in XLI, there are many these defense contractors as well. So, and there has always been tremendous amount of opportunities there to make money. And yeah, 100% correct, right? So XLI, IYT, retail is now waking up. And I think there's some fundamental narrative shift that need to happen in chemical space, but even materials are starting to look better and better each week that goes by. But broadly speaking, if you were to bucket all of it, I think you could say that the signs that we're seeing would suggest a shift towards large cap value, cyclical value basket. Not defensive value. There's a very big difference. Not defensive value. I'm not saying go hide out in Staples. I'm not saying go hide out buying Coca-Cola and Kimberly Clarks of the world. I'm saying cyclicals, buy minerals, buy Union Pacific, buy smokestacks, all these cyclical value. And again, I'll just say this, but I know that I think this is the environment that's coming. I think this is a beautiful time for O'Hare to make a lot of money next year.
Only O'Hare.
Well, he is probably the best large cap value or even mid cap value guy that I've known on Twitter. There might be others, but he's probably the best one I've ever come across. So yeah, so I'll put him at the top until I find somebody else. But Joe, let me ask you this. If this line of thinking, which I think you and I sort of agree, right, largely speaking, this rotation, if this is correct, does it not worry you then about cryptos? Does it not worry you then we could be entering into a period where crypto could just take a very long rest and go nowhere?
No, because I don't think if it stagnates and chops around, that to me, I have other assets that'll perform well. I don't mind that. Okay, I think it actually is healthy. Now, will it underperform? Yeah. Is that annoying? Yeah, because of my allocation. But what we are more concerned about is there some serious economic downturn that's going to pull assets down, 80-70%? That's a bigger issue.
Okay, well, let me touch on that because the U.S. dollar has been unable to get through 100, and if my discussions and I just
your perspective has never been pulled to using heuristic stuff.
Motion to reconsider is laid on the table. On this vote, the yeas are 312, the nays are 112. The bill is passed without. Objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table. On this vote, the yeas are 3.
winter season full of holiday cheer.
I think the most important thing that's going to happen in the world in the next 3 to 4 years is data centers in space. If you think about it from first principles, data centers should be in space. What are the fundamental?
The nays are 112. The bill is passed without objection.
And if this is an informational warfare type agenda, which it is, I think we can all at least agree in some part that is a big case. It's a technology war. And if all this information is all of a sudden all readily available to us, what are we missing here? And
No, we're not. I'd say we're not. John, because I just want to say to John, I'd really like to interview him soon about everything we just laying down. I just sent you a DM. Sure. Can you hear him, John? Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you share that. I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, this was something I actually blew the whistle on Facebook back in 2017 about. And this is one of the reasons why I got nuked down there. My account was literally suspended for a year and a half until I just stopped using it after that. But it's crazy, man. Like, they don't want this information out and what this agenda was for. This all goes back to Saudi and like the tarmac meetings and the global agenda and stuff like that. It's pretty wild.
Don't forget the whole Tesla fires. Trump was trying to say by attacking Teslas, you were a domestic terrorist. Remember that? Tesla, domestic terrorist, robots, and so forth.
Imagine that. And now they're trying to put data centers in space. So if they do go rogue, we can't even destroy the data centers.
Yeah, but their data, I would just say the amount of data that's there, whether it was successful or isn't, when you remove that Five Eyes layer, there's so much shit that's there that wasn't there before. 99% of people probably say they don't care about that, but it is important, and it's also a big piece to understand that when you're sovereign and you have a crown, you can run shit, especially here in the U.S., because all your decisions are your own, from your monetary policy to the top, bottom, the entire structure of your governance. You're the ultimate authority on that. So that's another one of those things. That the things that you can do when you're in an actual country that has a ruler or a controller is very powerful. And that's why they segued after they created the whole Arabian Peninsula and they put a bunch of those Arabs on the thrones. All those people went to the London schools and they're all interconnected, and so it's same storyline repeats over and over and over again. But I won't bore people to death with that.
No, that part of the history is my job. Hang tight just a second, buddy. We got a new speaker up here. The other John, is it Kitover? Or how do you pronounce it?
Kitover. I'm running for Congress in Illinois 16, but when I hear somebody saying that we're putting data centers in outer space, I have to basically come to the conclusion that there's so much clickbait and so much stupid content out there, and the fact that we talk about it and listen to it, like I've gone on diets and fasts of all this stupid content and surrounded myself with books, and thank God we have effing books, because otherwise you listen to just nonstop clickbait and stupid shit all day long by clown world people who want to fill your stupid consciousness with, we've got to put data centers in outer space. This is the most important thing in society. Not your property taxes, not your homeowner's insurance, not your sales taxes, not your gas prices, not everything that you use in your real life to exist. We've got to now start really seriously considering, worrying, and then start investing all of our money and work an extra day a week so we can get these huge, massive data centers in outer. It's like, anyways, I'm just ranting, but looking forward to being in your space.
Hey, welcome, John. What a way to break in, dude. And hey, to that point, I'm probably a little autistic, to be entirely honest, but I have a laundry list of links and things that I found to be interesting, like our grandparents would have clipped newspaper articles decades ago. And I have an article somewhere in my hidey hole about a federal contractor that was either awarded or in the process of being awarded a grant that would have enabled them to produce space-based megastructures. And I found that the source document is actually real. It's a real thing. But yeah, you're right, dude. It is the most
the most obvious and glaring thing, if NVIDIA came out.
I'm just glad he wasn't saying it didn't exist for a minute. I was like, oh my God. He's like, oh, it's pushback. I'm like, bro, they're doing it.
I was like, shit, wait a minute. No, they actually are. But the crazy thing about it is, you rewind back through time, this conversation's been going on for a long time, and they're looking at trying to harvest more energy from the sun via solar or whatever it is, and then the argument comes out that, oh yeah, well, in a vacuum, it's technically easier to heat or cool, and the whole conversation exists. But like 3-4 weeks ago, like I was getting into, NVIDIA had acknowledged one of the posts that I had propagated and contributed to, as well as a couple others, the Fin twit, if you will. Why would a corporation that large come out and say, we are not Enron? But their business practices clearly indicate that their revenue models are circular at best, and they operate on a 12-month forward projection, which are
being accused of being like Enron.
Yeah, because they are. The whole thing is money laundering. It's a giant circular model of like left pocket to right pocket to this dude's left pocket to that. They even marry dudes so that they can enjoy the fringe tax benefits. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
But they're not lying because they're not named Enron, so there's that.
Yeah, they're NVIDIA with an EN. Like, come on.
Well, and what was the last, quote, data center, going back, let's say, 20, 25 years ago, that was introduced on the East Coast, I believe, actually, in Massachusetts, speaking of Commonwealth, that was part of now CIA, FBI operations.
Yeah, remember when AWS East went down? Oh, by the way, it's Norfolk, Virginia. Uh-oh.
Yeah, now we have the fusion centers of space pretty much being implemented.
Freaking space lasers. Marjorie Taylor Greene was right. Holy shit.
Yeah, and those flying whales, they have laser beams.
I mean,
it's a freaking shark with freaking laser beam.
Where'd John go? Where are you running, John? You're running in...
I'm running in Illinois 16 versus Darren LaHood. And, chemtrails or contrails, as they're called on YouTube. I see chemtrail contrails every single sunny afternoon in the Chicagoland area. I see the craziest videos. In my opinion, I would really like to get a camera so you could really zoom in and see what's happening. But I don't know. It is the dumbest conspiracy theory thing to talk about. It's as stupid as flat Earth, but it's not stupid. I mean, we have to realize that taxpayers are borrowing to sit there to fly these fucking planes all around the skies in every major city for what? Are these pilots just joyriding, practicing? Are these National Guard reserve pilots? Like, can we FOIA it? I mean, anyways, it's kind of a joke, but, I think we live in clown world. Everybody's worried about the Jews and Israel and Candace Owens and Tim Dillon's pop shots in his chicken farm. It's like, I'm just sick of society. I'm sick of clown world. I'm sick of the communication that we have to live under in this country when we know we're 39 trillion in debt, 100 trillion in unfunded debt. The big pharma, the big military, the never-ending wars, the irrational and stupid alliances with stupid governments and stupid fucking people. I'm sick of all the liberal scum at the State Department, at the IRS, and the Treasury. I'm sick of liberals everywhere controlling everything in every major city. They are the dumbest fucking people I've ever seen. And I live in Chicago with Brandon Johnson, one of the chief stupidest people on the planet, who's now our mayor. I just don't, it's a paradox. How are the dumbest people on the planet some of the richest and most powerful people on the planet?
Well, there's a term. Yes, the secret ingredient is crime. But there's a term for that. It's a kakistocracy. It's for the least qualified of the leaders.
That's what we got. But, I do think, I think the level of information that's coming out, especially with the release or whatever, discontinuance of the Five Eyes cables, will really start to open things up a lot, especially privately. Interesting with Chicago, because Chicago's like, New Jersey, you got Delaware, you got Maryland, you got Virginia, but Chicago's like a little cesspool of its own. What's your plans for changing Chicago?
Well, I'm running in the 16th district of Illinois, which is Rockford, Peoria, Bloomington, Illinois, but I'm a resident here in Chicago. The Chicago Teachers Union that Johnson comes from are hardcore liberal Marxist communist socialists that literally dress up in all red and they look like communist parties. 65% of our property taxes go to funding the Chicago public school system, which is controlled by the teachers union. Basically, this government puts out $250 billion a year or $100 billion a year with the Department of Education, but it's $1 trillion+ a year industry because of property taxes. But lawyers just control the whole fucking system. And running for Congress, they removed me from the ballot yesterday because a bunch of corrupt judges and lawyers that run the entire election board, they don't listen to your challenges. They don't obey administrative law. They do whatever the hell they want to do, and they ignore you. And, you know, I'm not in the club. I'm not a lawyer. So, and I'm not going to spend, you know, $30,000 for a lawyer to defend my campaign. It's so Americans have to realize that, like, this is a transformative experience running for Congress. And every American should run for Congress. There's no filing fee. It takes 15 minutes, and it's an incredible experience to see how your government really works, because the whole racket is with judges and lawyers, challenges, objections, and petitions. Constitution, there's only one agency in the Constitution, the Department of Commerce's
of course.
You know, a Census Bureau. So I don't know. I know it's 2025, but I don't know. I'm just like, you know.
No, I'm with you. I'm glad you're embracing it too, because like it can become very daunting and almost like discouraging. But from my perspective, like, it's actually a really good thing, because you never would have people looking this deeply into the corporate structure of cities or boards or different parties, and that stuff is like, it's the juice, right? It's you really find out how the machine actually operates and works underneath the hood.
No, I'm not saying it's the Jews. I'm saying
it's the Jews.
I'm not saying it's the Jews. There's.
I said juice.
Oh, juice. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Sorry, I was lost.
That's a sincere TikTok term.
Well, that makes me want to drop my meme down into the bill. But I'm glad that we're having those difficult conversations too, because I think it's fucking annoying when people can't just talk about whatever subject, right? That's what annoys me the most is the whole Candace thing. Is like all these parenting influencers just saying, no, you're not allowed to. It's like, really, we're supposed to just trust the FBI. We're supposed to just trust the government, who covered up JFK, covered up satanic pedophilia, lied about the election, lied about Russiagate, are still lying about JFK. So yeah, it's crazy. We got C11 and Gambler. You guys get turns up.
Thanks. Real quick, I have some more to bring to your space, to the effect of what you were, had in your minds and your vision here. And I like it. Can I just add that there's a giant segment of people that also say, if you question Candace, that you're a Fed or Israeli or they want to cancel you. There's people we know very well. I'm not going to name their name. We say, if they're out there questioning Candace, just unfollow them. And these are like right wing freedom of speech guys.
It's like that pattern. It just repeats, huh? That doesn't matter. We went through with the Jews thing for a while. It's just like, you're on one side or the other. Pick a side and stick to it. I don't know.
It's something that goes all the way back to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, right? But I don't want to start at the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. I don't even want to start.
No, you should. I'll tell you guys that. I don't even want
to start at the point. Listen, sir. I don't even want to start at the point where his hand in the quill or whatever, whether it was a pen or quill, was put to the paper to sign over the Secret Service. Did you know that was the key? That was it. That was the moment in time